You say you want peace. You say you want clarity. You say you want control over your mind. But the moment you're alone, something shifts. Something uncomfortable. Something you keep avoiding. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Marcus Aurelius. And yet, you don't go there. Not fully. Not willingly. Because being alone doesn't feel like peace to you. It feels like pressure. Silence becomes heavy. Stillness becomes uncomfortable. Your own thoughts become something you don't want to face. So you fill the space. Constantly. Not always intentionally, but consistently. You reach for your phone. You play something in the background. You look for noise. You look for connection. You look for anything that keeps you from sitting with yourself. And you tell yourself it's normal. That everyone does it. That it's just how life is now. But if you're honest, it's not just habit. It's avoidance. Because when everything goes quiet, there's nothing left to distract you from what's inside. No external noise. No interruptions. No escape. Just you. And that's what you've been avoiding. The more a man is at peace within himself, the more peace he finds in the world. Marcus Aurelius. But you haven't built that internal peace. You've built external stimulation. Constant input. Constant movement. Constant distraction. So when that disappears, you feel it immediately. The tension. The restlessness. The urge to escape. You don't sit still. You shift. You reach. You look for something to fill the gap. Because the gap feels uncomfortable. But the gap is not the problem. What's inside it is. Because when you're alone, you start to notice things. Thoughts you've been ignoring. Feelings you've been pushing aside. Questions you haven't answered. Decisions you've been delaying. You see the gap between who you are and who you know you could be. And that creates pressure. So instead of facing it, you avoid it. Not consciously. Automatically. You keep yourself busy. Not productive. Occupied. There's a difference. Busy fills time. Productive moves you forward. And most of the time, you're filling time. While we wait for life, life passes. Seneca. You scroll. You watch. You listen. You engage. But you don't stop. You don't sit in silence long enough to actually see what's going on inside you. And because of that, nothing gets resolved. Nothing gets processed. Nothing gets corrected. It just stays there, underneath everything, building, quietly. That's why you feel restless even when nothing is wrong. That's why your focus breaks easily. That's why you look for distraction even when you don't need it. Because you've trained yourself to avoid being alone with your own mind. And the longer you do that, the worse it gets. Because now, silence doesn't just feel uncomfortable. It feels unfamiliar. You've built a dependency on noise, on stimulation, on constant input. So when it's gone, you don't feel calm. You feel exposed. Man is not worried by real problems so much as by his imagined anxieties about real problems. Epictetus. And those anxieties only surface when things are quiet. That's why you avoid it. But here's the truth. Everything you're avoiding is exactly what you need to face. Because clarity doesn't come from noise. It comes from silence. Control doesn't come from distraction. It comes from awareness. And awareness only happens when you stop running. Right now, you're not afraid of being alone. You're afraid of what you'll find when you are. And until you face that, you will keep filling your life with distractions that keep you stuck. You think you struggle to be alone. That's not accurate. You struggle to be still. And there's a reason for that. A system has been built inside you over time, through repetition, through exposure, through constant stimulation. And now, silence feels unnatural. He who fears death will never do anything worthy of a living man. Seneca. Replace death with silence, and it becomes clear. You've trained yourself to fear stillness, not directly, but effectively. Look at your day. From the moment you wake up, you're consuming something. Your phone, messages, content, sound, information. Your mind never sits idle, not even for a few minutes. You've built a constant stream of input, and that stream has done something to you. It has lowered your tolerance for silence. At first, it wasn't noticeable. It felt normal, even productive. You were learning, engaging, staying informed. But over time, it changed how your mind operates. Now, when there is no input, your system reacts. It looks for something, anything, to fill the space. That reaction is not random. It's conditioned. Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views which they take of them. Epictetus. You've associated silence with discomfort, with boredom, with unease. So your mind avoids it automatically. And here's where it gets deeper. This isn't just about external stimulation. It's about internal avoidance. Because when everything goes quiet, your attention turns inward. And that's where the real resistance begins. You start noticing thoughts that don't align. Things you've been ignoring. Things you've been postponing. Things you haven't resolved. And instead of facing them, you escape. Not consciously. Conditioned. You open something. You play something. You distract yourself. Because facing those thoughts requires effort, honesty, responsibility, and your system has been trained to avoid that. While we wait for life, life passes. Seneca. There's another layer. Your brain has adapted to quick rewards. Faststimulation. Immediate feedback. Scrolling. Notifications. Short bursts of content. Constant novelty. Each one gives you a small hit of satisfaction. Brief. Temporary. But enough. And your brain starts to prefer that over slower, deeper processes. Like thinking, reflecting, sitting in silence. Because those don't give immediate reward. They require patience, focus, endurance. So your brain resists them. Not because they're bad, because they're harder. And when you combine that with internal avoidance, you get what you're experiencing now. You can't sit still. Not for long. Not without reaching for something. Because your system is overloaded with stimulation and underdeveloped in stillness. That imbalance creates restlessness. You feel it when you try to do nothing, when you try to think, when you try to just sit. Your mind starts racing, jumping, looking for something. And that's when you give in. You break the silence. You return to stimulation. And the cycle continues. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Epictetus. Right now, you are not in control of your attention. Your environment is. Your habits are. Your conditioning is. And until you change that, you will continue to avoid being alone. Not because you want to, because you've trained yourself to. But here's the shift. This is reversible. Your mind can adapt again. It can relearn stillness. It can rebuild tolerance for silence. It can face what it's been avoiding. But it requires something you haven't been doing. Staying. Staying in the silence. Staying with the discomfort. Staying with your thoughts. Not escaping. Not filling the space. Just staying. At first, it will feel uncomfortable, restless, even overwhelming. That's expected, because you're reversing conditioning. But every time you stay, you weaken the urge to escape. And every time you escape, you reinforce it. That's the cycle. And now you see it clearly. Learn to sit with yourself without escape. Right now, silence feels like something to avoid. That changes here. Not by forcing calm, by building tolerance. Step by step. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. You don't control the first wave of discomfort. You control whether you stay or leave. That's the entire shift. You start small, not extreme, not overwhelming, deliberate. You sit. No phone, no sound, no distraction, just you. At first, it feels unnatural. Your mind moves quickly. It looks for something, anything. You don't follow it. You don't react. You observe. Thoughts appear. You notice them, but you don't engage. You don't build on them. You don't chase them. You let them pass. This is where most people fail. They try to control their thoughts. That's not the goal. You control your response to them. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. You remain still, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when your mind tells you to get up, even when the urge to escape gets stronger. You stay. That act alone starts changing your system. Because now, you're not reacting automatically. You're choosing. At first, it's difficult. Your tolerance is low. Your mind is used to constant stimulation. So it resists. But resistance is not a stop signal. It's part of the process. You stay through it. And something shifts. Slowly, the urgency fades. The noise settles. Not completely, but enough. You begin to notice space between thoughts. Moments of quiet. That's where clarity starts. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. When you stop feeding your mind constant input, it starts to reset. Thoughts become clearer, less chaotic, more structured. You begin to see things directly, without distortion, without distraction. This is where you start noticing patterns. What you've been avoiding, what you've been delaying, what you've been ignoring. Not emotionally, objectively. That's important. Because clarity without emotion allows action. You're not overwhelmed. You're aware. And awareness gives you direction. You don't need external input anymore. Because now, your mind is producing clarity. That's the shift. From consuming to thinking. From reacting to observing. From escaping to staying. While we wait for life, life passes. Seneca. You stop filling every moment. You allow space. And in that space, you start understanding yourself. What matters? What doesn't? What needs to be done? This is where discipline strengthens. Because now, you're not running from discomfort. You're sitting in it. And once you can do that, external challenges become easier. Because the internal resistance is lower. You're not constantly seeking escape. You're stable. That stability changes everything. Your focus improves. Your decisions become clearer. Your actions become more intentional. Because your mind is no longer overloaded. You're not reacting to everything. You're choosing. This is how control is built. Not through force. Through stillness. Through staying. Through facing what's there. Without running. At first, you do this for a few minutes. Then longer. Then it becomes part of your day. Not as a task. As a baseline. You don't fear being alone anymore. Because now, you can handle it. You can sit with yourself. Without needing to escape. And once that happens, everything changes. Eliminate your need for constant distraction. You don't just get distracted. You've been trained into it, repeatedly, over time, until it became automatic. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. And right now, your thoughts are constantly interrupted, pulled, fragmented, not by accident, by design. Every notification, every short video, every quick check, every small burst of stimulation, it resets your attention. It breaks your focus. It trains your mind to expect constant input. So when there is no input, your system reacts. It looks for it. That's the dependency. And if you don't remove it, you will always feel the urge to escape silence. So we don't manage distraction. We eliminate its control. 1. You remove instant access. Distraction is strongest when it's easy, immediate, one tap away. So you create distance. Not mentally, physically. Your phone is not in your hand constantly. Not on your desk. Not within reach during focused work. You don't rely on discipline to ignore it. You remove the option to reach for it. Because access creates temptation. Distance removes it. Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Epictetus. 2. You reduce input volume. Right now, your mind is overloaded. Too much content. Too much noise. Too much information. You don't need all of it. Most of it adds nothing. So you cut it down. Deliberately. Less scrolling. Less background noise. Less constant consumption. You don't fill every moment anymore. You leave space. Because space is where control returns. 3. You create distraction-free blocks. You define periods of time where distraction does not exist. No checking, no switching, no interruptions. Just one task, one direction. At first, it feels intense because your system is not used to it. But that's exactly why it works. You're rebuilding focus from the ground up. 4. You stop rewarding distraction. Every time you give in, you reinforce the pattern. So you change the reward system. You don't treat distraction as relief. You treat it as interruption. You recognize the cost. Lost time, broken focus, weakened control. And that awareness changes your response. The obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius. 5. You increase tolerance for boredom. This is critical. You've been avoiding boredom. But boredom is not the problem. It's a reset. When your mind is not stimulated, it recalibrates. But you haven't allowed that process. So you train it. You sit without input. You walk without your phone. You wait without checking anything. Simple moments. Repeated. And over time, your tolerance increases. You stop needing constant stimulation. You become comfortable in stillness. 6. You rebuild deep focus. Not scattered attention. Not multitasking. Deep focus. One task. Sustained attention. No switching. This is where real progress happens. Because depth creates results. And distraction destroys depth. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. You don't say you're focused. You demonstrate it. Through uninterrupted work. Through sustained attention. Through consistency. This is how the dependency breaks. Not instantly, but steadily. Every time you resist the urge to distract yourself, you weaken it. Every time you stay focused, you strengthen control. And over time, something shifts. You don't feel the same pull. You don't reach for your phone automatically. You don't need constant input. Because your system has changed. You've removed the conditions that created distraction. Now, silence is not empty. It's stable. Focus is not forced. It's natural. And once you reach this point, you don't fear being alone anymore, because you don't need to escape it. At this point, you are no longer avoiding being alone. You can sit with yourself. You can handle silence. You can stay without reaching for escape. But this is where most people stop. They become comfortable. You go further. You use it. Solitude is not just something you tolerate. It becomes a tool, a weapon, a place where you build what others can't. He who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. Marcus Aurelius. Because when you remove noise, you remove distortion. When you remove distraction, you remove confusion. And what's left is clarity. Most people never reach this point because they never stay long enough. They touch silence, then run back to stimulation. So they never experience what's on the other side. You do. And what you find there changes everything. In solitude, you see clearly, not what you want to see, what is actually there. Your habits, your patterns, your weaknesses, your strengths. No filters, no distractions, no escape. That level of clarity is rare, and that's why it's powerful. Because once you see clearly, you can act precisely. You don't guess. You don't drift. You don't move randomly. You move with direction. While we wait for life, life passes. Seneca. Solitude also gives you something else. Focus. Not shallow attention. Deep focus. The kind that allows you to think without interruption, to work without distraction, to build without interference. This is where real output happens. Not in noise. Not in constant connection. In isolation. Because isolation removes interference. You're not reacting. You're creating. And that changes your results. You produce more. You think deeper. You move faster. Because your attention is not divided. It's concentrated. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. Epictetus. Solitude also strengthens something most people lack. Self-trust. Because when you spend time alone, without distraction, you start relying on yourself. Not external validation. Not constant input. Your own thinking. Your own decisions. Your own direction. And that builds confidence. Real confidence. Not based on approval. Based on certainty. You know what you're doing. You know why you're doing it. You don't need reinforcement. That's power. And it only comes from time spent alone. There's another layer. In solitude, you confront everything you've been avoiding. Not occasionally. Directly. You face your thoughts, your doubts, your unfinished decisions. And instead of escaping, you resolve them. That removes internal tension. Because nothing is left unaddressed. Everything is seen. Everything is processed. Everything is handled. That creates mental clarity. And clarity creates speed. You don't hesitate. You don't overthink. You act. Because there's nothing unresolved slowing you down. He who is brave is free. Seneca. Freedom is not external. It's internal. And solitude builds it. Because when you are comfortable alone, you are not dependent. Not on people. Not on noise. Not on distraction. You can operate anywhere. Under any condition. That's control. And once you reach this level, something shifts permanently. You stop fearing silence. You seek it. Because you know what it gives you. Clarity. Focus. Control. You don't fill every moment anymore. You protect space. Because that space is where you think. Where you plan. Where you reset. And that gives you an advantage most people don't have. They are constantly distracted. Constantly reacting. constantly consuming. You are not. You are still. Focused. Deliberate. That difference compounds. Over time, it separates you completely. In results. In mindset. In control. You don't need constant connection. You don't need constant stimulation. You don't need constant noise. Because you've built something stronger. The ability to be alone. And use it. And once you have that, you are no longer controlled by your environment. You control it. That's the shift. That's the advantage. That's the power. If you made it this far, you already understand. So don't stop here. Subscribe to the Unbroken Protocol and go to the next video. This is why you feel anxious all the time. Because even with control, there is still one pattern affecting your mind daily. And if you don't understand it, it will keep pulling you back into restlessness. See you in the next video.